TBI accidents in New York. Know your legal rights. Attorney Andrew M. Stengel. A traumatic brain injury can change your life in a single moment. Many people picture catastrophic crashes when they hear the term TBI, but the reality is far more common. Any blow, jolt, or violent impact can force the brain to move inside the skull. In New York, that means brain injuries arise in car crashes, slip and falls, construction accidents, assaults, and pedestrian collisions, often in situations that look minor from the outside. One of the most dangerous aspects of a TBI is how easy it is to dismiss. Symptoms like headaches, memory problems, mood changes, and fatigue may not appear until hours or days after the incident. Insurance companies exploit that delay. They move quickly to frame the accident as minor before the full picture of your injury becomes clear. Understanding what causes traumatic brain injury and what your legal rights are can make all the difference in a New York case. How traumatic brain injuries happen and why they are easy to miss. The brain does not need to strike a hard surface for a TBI to occur. Rapid acceleration and deceleration can force brain tissue against the inside of the skull, causing damage even without a visible wound. That is why a rear end collision, a sudden fall, or an unexpected impact at a construction site can produce serious neurological harm even when no one is bleeding. Symptoms are often delayed, which creates serious problems for injured people. Victims often brush off headaches as stress. Memory lapses may seem temporary. People attribute mood swings and concentration problems to something entirely unrelated. By the time a person seeks medical attention, the insurance company has already documented its version of a minor incident. That gap between the accident and the diagnosis is exactly what insurers use against TBI victims. Seeking medical evaluation immediately after any accident involving impact to the head or body is the most important step you can take. A neurologist or emergency physician can begin building the medical record that protects your right to pursue a New York personal injury lawsuit. Motor vehicle crashes and New York TBI lawsuits. Car and truck accidents are among the leading causes of traumatic brain injury in New York. During a crash, your head may strike a window, steering wheel, door frame, or airbag. Even without direct contact, the force of impact can cause the brain to move violently against the skull. That is true in rear-end collisions, side impact crashes, and rollover accidents alike. Truck accidents often produce especially severe injuries. A commercial vehicle's weight multiplies the force of impact dramatically. Victims in smaller passenger cars sometimes suffer brain trauma that takes hours to become apparent. The same risk exists in pedestrian and bicycle accidents. Without the protection of a vehicle, even a relatively low-speed collision can send a person's head into pavement or a hard surface. In motor vehicle TBI lawsuits, evidence is everything. Police reports, vehicle damage photographs, black box data, surveillance footage, and emergency room records all help establish what happened and why your injury is serious. Furthermore, the faster you preserve this evidence, the harder it becomes for an insurer to argue that the crash was too minor to cause lasting harm. New York law gives injured people the right to pursue a lawsuit when someone else's negligence caused their brain injury. But that right depends on acting quickly. Falls, construction accidents, and assault-related traumatic brain injuries. Not every TBI begins on the road. Falls are a significant source of head trauma in premises liability and workplace cases across New York. A person can suffer a serious brain injury after slipping on a wet floor, falling down broken stairs, tripping on uneven pavement, or losing footing on a scaffold. Construction sites carry particular danger. Falling tools, collapsing materials, ladder accidents, and scaffold failures can all produce the kind of force that causes brain trauma. New York labor law, sections 240 and 241, commonly known as the Scaffold Law, impose strict liability on property owners and general contractors for elevation-related injuries. Workers in offices, warehouses, and retail settings face their own risks from falling inventory, machinery, and unsecured equipment. In negligent security and assault cases, a punch, shove, or fall to the ground can also produce a TBI, even without a skull fracture or visible bleeding. However, what all of these very different situations share is a common problem. The incident often looks minor to everyone present. Property owners, employers, and insurers regularly argue that the person simply bumped their head. A brain injury does not need a dramatic cause to produce life altering consequences. Why the type of accident matters for your TBI lawsuit. The cause of an accident shapes how an attorney builds and proves a TBI lawsuit. In a motor vehicle case, liability may turn on traffic violations, distracted driving, or failure to yield. For premises liability cases, the focus shifts to notice, dangerous conditions, and maintenance failures. Meanwhile, construction cases can draw in multiple contractors, site managers, and third parties, all of whose conduct an attorney must examine. Strong TBI lawsuits rest on more than symptoms alone. It also requires a clear, evidence backed theory of how the accident happened and who is legally responsible. New York law recognizes that brain injuries affect earning capacity, cognitive function, relationships, and daily quality of life. Your attorney must carefully document these losses and connect them directly to the cause of the incident. Additionally, New York's statute of limitations gives most personal injury victims 3 years from the date of the accident to file a lawsuit. Evidence disappears, witnesses become harder to find, medical records grow harder to obtain. The sooner you speak with an attorney, the better positioned you are to protect that evidence and build a compelling case for the compensation you deserve. We fight for TBI victims throughout New York. If you suffered a brain injury in any kind of accident, you deserve answers about your legal options. The law firm of Andrew M. Stengel PC represents TBI victims throughout New York. From car crashes and truck accidents to construction incidents, falls, and assaults, we investigate what happened, preserve critical evidence, and fight to recover the full compensation you deserve. That includes medical costs, lost wages, and damages for pain and suffering. Contact us for a free, completely confidential consultation. Email info@stengellaw.com. For more information, please visit our website, stengellaw.com. Attorney advertising. Prior results do not guarantee a similar outcome.